Hello, I'm Raphael, and it's my pleasure today to show you my all-time favorite synthesizer, the Arp Odyssey. Now, this is a keyboard I've been using since I was 18 when I joined the most famous band in my city, Seattle. They were called the Sorcerer's Apprentice, and they had to have me get one of these because it was very important for their music. And at first it took me a while to figure it out, but once I did, I'm really glad I did, and it's become next to my side through my entire music career. Today I'm going to show you two things: the most basic stuff about this instrument and some of the most interesting and complex sounds it can make. So we're going to go from the beginning to the end and save the middle for future filming. Okay, the Arp Odyssey basically has two oscillators, the green one and the blue one. And they sound like this. Here's the green one, and here's the blue one. Now the interesting thing about these oscillators and the Arp Odyssey is each oscillator, the green and the blue, can go so high that it's beyond the range of human hearing. Now your pets can hear it, your dog and cat can hear it, and you can make special songs for them, but you will not be able to hear it because the frequency is so high. I'm going to demonstrate that for a moment. With the green oscillator, I take it, I play it without a vibrato, and I put the pitch up and up about 2 more octaves. Okay, so this is how loud the sound is. But I can put it up many notes higher, and there it is, completely out of range. And also, each oscillator can go so low that it turns into a series of clicks. And that's pretty low. A normal bass guitar is a couple octaves above this one, octave above it, and this like try doing a bass solo with a frequency that low. It's pretty funny. So I think it's very interesting that you have two oscillators that have such a gigantic range. It basically means you can cover everything within the human ear spectrum above it and below so low that it just turns into some indiscernible clicks. Okay, so I'm going to show you the basic way to tune the oscillators. I have a handy A440 on my Mini Moog over here, and I'm going to tune the green oscillator to that pitch on A in the middle of the spectrum. So now I have the green oscillator tuned exactly to A440 on an A, and I'll tune the blue oscillator to the green one, using the coarse and fine tuning adjustment that they give you for each oscillator. Coarse tuning, fine tuning, now when you tune two oscillators to the exact same pitch, you'd think it was a nice and fat sound because you have double, but actually they kind of lock in and become a rather thin sound, like this. Here's one oscillator, here's the other one, and together. So what I like to do is I like to use the fine tuning adjustment on one of the oscillators and put it slightly below the normal pitch, which technically is a little out of tune, but it sounds a little fatter and you don't really notice it, at least I don't. that. It was a little out of tune at first, but now I moved it in. It's not exactly in tune. It's kind of phasing and chorusing, and it sounds fat. Listen. Each oscillator is also equipped with sawtooth wave, square tooth wave, and they give you incredible control over the square wave with the pulse option. So you can push the sides of the square wave. It's called that because if you saw it on an oscilloscope, it looks square, and it makes little pulsing like. As I move this slider, it closes the square and the sound gets thinner and thinner, which is a kind of an interesting approach. So this one is a pulse wave, this oscillator is a sawtooth, and together they sound like. Okay, now I'm going to make something very complicated and talk to you about these sounds which use a random setting called sample and hold mixer. It basically assigns mathematically random voltages to either the pitch of the oscillators or the filter or anything else you like. And then I also like the function called ring modulator right here. Ring modulator is a very interesting mathematical concept that takes two different frequencies and gives you the sum and the differences. So there's a lot of mathematics involved, but for me it just sounds like pieces of metal being shredded or giant robots being melted, and it's a very handy sound for the kind of music that I'm into. So it's going to take me a minute to make a sculpture of a sound using the sample and hold concept and the ring modulator concept. So these two sounds of frequency of the oscillators are pretty close now. What if I put them very far apart? And put the ring modulator on. There's Mr. Robot. By changing the frequency of the blue oscillator, it just quickly changes the sum and the differences, and the machine makes the craziest sounds. I don't generally make dance music, but if I was a robot and I wanted to dance, it would definitely sound like. I grew up on the streets of London for 22 years. I was playing the Arp Odyssey on the streets. There was no electricity and it was very quiet.